So my name is Margot Jacobs. I'm the Deputy Principal at Sylvania Heights Public School, and one of my biggest roles is student wellbeing. Student wellbeing is all-encompassing. It's the total child. So tonight, what I want to do is give you some really good strategies that you can take away and start using with your beautiful children. And most of these strategies we are also using with our children, or we will be using them when your children start next year. Thank you, Mrs. Ingram. So what is wellbeing? We know that children learn best when they feel safe, they have a routine, they're happy, and they have an adult or a friend who they trust and will support them. And in tonight's presentation, I'd just like to recognise Noelle Bahaja and the kindergarten team at Cronulla South, who I've worked with for some of the content in this presentation and some of the strategies. They're an amazing team as well. And all the local schools, we share things. We're very big on sharing. So some of these things we've borrowed, and we will give them some of our strategies. So tonight I want to have a chat about anxiety and resilience. They are two buzzwords that are out there in the community, and they're two things that really stand out for our children, and they're things that I notice. We have 600 odd children at our school. These are the two things that stand out for us as well. And it's really important that it's part of life. Anxiety is part of life, so is becoming resilient or having resilience. And I love this little saying: when little people are overwhelmed by big emotions, it is our job to share the calm, not join their chaos. I love that. Resilience means having the ability to adapt to stress in productive ways. It's the ability to bounce back after adversity. Some people are naturally resilient and others need to be taught. Most young children, some kids are very, very resilient, and you'll know, things will happen to them and they just get up and bounce back. Other kids, it takes them a little bit longer. And resilient parents create resilient kids. And I think we all know that. Anxiety is, on the other hand, it's all about uncertainty. And if we can't predict something, if we can't predict what's going to happen, it creates big feelings, and it can create a feeling of panic. And in young children, that can create very big feelings. As we get older, we learn to manage our anxiety. But, sometimes anxiety is something that creeps up on us. And then when we have something that comes out at us really suddenly, like what we've all just been through this year, that can create that kind of uncertainty. For some people, it creates a panic. Other people can bounce back from that quite quickly. And it depends on your background, it depends on how you grew up, it depends on how you were raised, what happened at school, events in your life. But you can still relearn how to manage anxiety and become more resilient. So our little angels starting next year, we know that 4 to 5-year-olds, they're egocentric. So what that means is it's all about them. It's all about them having their needs met. And they will tell you, they're very clear about what they want for dinner, where they want to go if they don't want to go somewhere. They will push the boundaries, and they are very good at persuading, why I should have that lolly in the lolly aisle, or why I should have that donut, or why we should go to the park. And 4 to 5-year-olds also have very big emotions. They're still learning to self-regulate, and if they're happy, it could be super, super happy. If they're sad, it's super, super sad. And as they get older, they'll manage to self-regulate their emotions to kind of get an even keel on things. As parents, and I'm a mum too of two, a son and a daughter, we are their seatbelt. And I love this saying, we're their seatbelt. So we don't ride the roller coaster of emotions, but rather we help them manage their emotions. Sometimes that's hard, because sometimes, you might lose your temper, or they might absolutely exasperate you. But that calmness is so important, because, as I said, we're their seatbelt. We're not riding their emotions. we're managing and helping their emotions. We teach our children how to behave. So really, really important when they start kindy, those basic social skills, and here are some of them that I'll put down. Sharing is so important. Being kind to others, being helpful, being fair, losing a game. So some of our Year 6 boys are still learning how to lose a game of soccer, and I often deal with that at lunchtime. So we're still managing how to lose a game, and a really good way to learn with these things, and I know they learn about these things not only through you as your first child's teacher, but they're also learning about those at kindergarten, these social skills. It's just about really understanding these basic social skills so that they can cope when things are not going to work for them. You know, life is not fair. Sometimes if they're not going to get what they want, but often talking to them about, like, doing a reenactment, playing a game with them, and then doing a really funny thing like pretending to have a huge meltdown when you didn't win the soccer game or you didn't win the game of cards, and showing them what silly people do, you know, oh, they go all crazy and they have a big meltdown, and letting kids have a laugh and go, this is, you know, we wouldn't behave like this, would we? What could we do when we don't win a game? Because children will not always win a game. As we know in life, you win some and you lose some, and coping with failure is a really big thing. So teaching them how to cope with failure, how to lose at a game, and how to do it respectfully and is really important. And that takes lots and lots of practice for a 4 and 5-year-old, because they're egocentric. They want to win all the time, and they have to understand that that's not going to happen all the time. Talking to them about what it looks like, sounds like, and feels like is also something that's really important to them. So how do we teach resilience and reduce anxiety in our beautiful kids? So to do that, we need to create certainty for our children. So when you start to talk to them about going to school, as you will have done when they went to preschool, talk about what school will look like, what it will sound like, what it will feel like. And I know that's a bit hard for you, because I'm really sorry, guys, that you're not here at the moment, but we will get to that point. And if you are a parent at the school, you will know. But basically, the kids, when they come to school, there's a routine. They learn, they go to the toilet. We have regular toilet breaks. They have something to eat, whether it be fruit break or recess or lunch, and they play. Then they go back to the classroom and they learn again. They go to the toilet, they eat something, and then they play, and then they actually do that again. There's 3 sessions, and then at the end they go home. So if you can create that feeling of this is what we do when we're at big school, it's a routine, and it's a bit similar to when we're at kindergarten. They just don't get to play as much, unfortunately, but there's lots and lots of fun learning. Walking around the school fence, the perimeter of the fence, we have lunch at 11:25. There's lots of kids out there, especially up on the very southern end of the school. There's lots of kids, and having a look, you can welcome to come and have a look at the kids playing, having a look at our naturescape, and just getting familiar with the school. I know I've seen a number of our kindy kids for next year already at pickup, but just getting familiarised with the school, how big it is. We're on wonderful, wonderful big acres of land, so hectares of land. So please come up and have a big walk around the school. When they start school, preparing them the night before, talking to them. This is what we do. We get up in the morning and we get ready, and having the clothes out on the bed, ready to go, because a chaotic morning leads to a chaotic day. So organisation is really important. And just getting them in that routine. When we wake up in the morning, we're going to school. Having your child help prepare for school is really important. Letting them be in charge of some of the choices that they don't quite realise that they're going to make, that they actually have no choice, but you're giving them a choice. So, for example, do you want an apple or orange for fruit break today? Do you want a Vegemite or a cheese sandwich for school today? Do you want to put on your shorts for school today, or your shirt first? So the expectation is we're getting ready for school, but you get to choose how we do that. You know, do you want the pink pink lunchbox or the orange lunchbox, those sorts of things. So they're kind of involved in the whole process of going to school. Just be very careful, mums and dads, about not projecting your fears or your anxiety onto your child. We all have our own backgrounds about how we went to school. We all have our own experiences, but keep those to yourself and project, just like kindergarten, about how much fun they're going to have, they're going to learn, they're going to make new friends, they're going to have a great day, and just preparing them for, setting up that high expectation that school is a great place where you're going to learn to read and write, and there's going to be all these new things that you're going to come home and talk about. So just keeping it in a very positive frame of mind. And another thing that's really important is learning from mistakes. So, and a good example of that is spilt juice, or your child spilt milk on the floor. It's, oh no, okay, that's what's happened. What are we going to do about it? And getting them to make good choices. So rather than just scolding them, it's about, okay, you've spilt the milk. What are we going to do? Oh, we need to clean it up. Okay, how do we do that? Let's go and get some wipes, or let's go and get what we need to do, and learning from that mistake. So, okay, so next time when we take the milk out of the fridge, maybe ask mummy or daddy first, because it's too heavy, isn't it? Or maybe we can put it in a little plastic bottle in the fridge so that it doesn't drop on the ground because it was too big for you. So just teaching them all the time that we learn from our mistakes, and it's okay, and we move on from that. Another really important thing with your 4 and 5-year-olds is talking about worries and fears, and the most important thing is acknowledging them. So if your child says to you, I'm really scared about going to school, acknowledge what they're saying. So look, I can understand that. You haven't been to school before. This is a really big thing for you. But I can assure you, when you get there, your teacher is going to be so much fun. You're going to learn, and you're going to make new friends. So don't dismiss their fears and say, oh, no, that's silly, or no, that's not true. Acknowledge them, that you're acknowledging their fears so that they feel like they're being heard, but then reassure them that it will be okay, so that they know that their fears are real and their fears are big for them, but reassure them that it will be okay. So can you just go back there for, one up, Rach? Sorry, we'll go back. And one more. That's it. So acknowledging the worries and fears. So for example, you can use an example like, remember when you wanted to jump in the swimming pool and you were so scared, and then when you jumped in the pool, it was so much fun, you wanted to do it 10 times. So just talking to them that worries and fears doesn't mean that they're acknowledging them, but using examples to say, once you do that, you know that it's going to be okay. So just giving them that lovely reassurance. When they start school, if your child is anxious or is a bit worried about starting school, and to be honest, most of our kindergarten kids are not, but sometimes after a week or two, sometimes, after that settling in period, that anxiety might build up. A little toy, a little bag tag, a photo of their pet laminated in their pocket, a little key ring with a photo of mum or dad in their pocket to say, when, you'll be picking you up in the afternoon, and this will keep you feeling safe, and all that sort of thing. Those kinds of things are really good for children as well. When your child comes home in the afternoon after school, be curious about their day, but try not to be judgmental. And I'll give you an example of this. So, for example, if your child came home and said, Billy, and I hope there's no Billies out there, I don't mean to offend any Billies, but Billy threw my hat in the sandpit today, and I put it back on, and Billy grabbed it again and threw it in the sandpit. Before you judge them, have a little chat to them and say, well, what did you do? Or were you playing a game? Or what could you do next time? Because you might find out that they're actually playing a game and they were taking turns in throwing the hat into the sandpit. Perhaps the other child was being inappropriate and doing something silly, in which case it's, well, what did you do? Did you say something to him? And if your child said, no, I didn't know what to say, you could teach them the words to say to them. You know, that's really mean. Don't throw my hat in the sandpit. And I know kindergarten does that well. Preschools do that really well. But also just showing them, you know, what could you do next time? And if you don't feel brave enough, you could go and see the teacher on duty. And they're the sort of things that we teach the children when they're at school as well. Your child will also come home and talk to you when you're in the car. Most times when kids will tell you what's really going on at school is in the car, at the dinner table, and at bedtime. And they're the 3 times when you'll really hear all the stories that are coming out. Again, acknowledge them. Acknowledge what they're saying. I understand what you're saying, or I'm sorry to hear that that's happened to you. Don't overreact to them, because they will learn that overreacting, they get a lot of attention. Listen to what they're saying. And if you feel something is not right and it needs to be clarified, give the school a quick call the next day. We're very happy to follow it up and sort it out for you. And on that note, don't hesitate. Could you just go forward, Mrs. Ingram? Yeah, that's it. On that note, if you feel that something is ongoing with your child, and, you know, not just a once off, but if you feel things are going on and on and on, and your child continues to talk about another child being inappropriate, please give your teacher a quick call or have a chat. We are more than happy to sort things out. Don't let things go. The quicker we know about something, then we can sort it out. What I want to do now is show you some strategies to help your child just calm their mind. And it's really important that you teach these strategies to your child before they actually get anxious, or they're having a meltdown, or they're getting upset. If you do it when they're upset, it won't work, because they'll probably just throw the things at you. So these are just some little things, and they're really good strategies that you can use for any age child, and you can actually use them as an adult. And I actually love this one myself. I just got this from Cronulla South, and it's very calming. And remember the old snow domes, or you go on a holiday and you buy a snow dome, and I have a bottle here, which I've just got to hold up. I hope you can see that. There we are. So I've just got a bottle. Actually, I'll show my little bottle. I've just got a little bottle here, and it's got some glitter in it. Is that working, Mrs.? There we are. And it's just got a bit of glitter and water in a bottle. I'd use a plastic bottle. We're going to be doing this with your children next year. So if your child has come back after lunch and they've had all sorts of things happening on the playground, and they had an argument with their friend, and the hat got thrown in the sandpit, and somebody threw sand on them. I don't know, so, little things that are little but big for them. We will be saying to them, this is your mind. Your mind feels like this at the moment. It actually feels like chaos. And I think as adults, we can feel like this too. And so we say to the children, this is what your mind is like. Take this away with you. I want you to go and find a quiet space. I want you to sit, close your eyes, take some nice deep breaths, and I want you to watch the glitter settle. That in itself is just so calming and soothing. Just watching that glitter settle, and then I will talk to you when your glitter has settled. And what it does is it just calms the mind, and it gives the child something to just focus on, to just settle down what's happening. And then when their mind is calm, then you can actually have some rational conversation. Because when they're in the middle of a meltdown, or they're very upset or very distressed, there is no point having a conversation with them. They just need time to settle. So the old glitter bottle or the snow dome is a really great little strategy, and I absolutely love that one. Another one that you can use with your children is hold a bunch of these. I love these ones because there's no equipment, so you can do them anywhere. Hold a bunch, smell the roses. So you hold a bunch of flowers, smell the roses, and blow the bubbles. smell the roses, and blow the bubbles. And that's something that I think even I like as an adult to do when you're having a stressful day. You just need a bit of time out. So I love that strategy as well. So another one that you can do when a child is getting anxious or getting worried about something is they do the hand strategy, which is, I'm going to hold my, hang on, there we are. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And I can feel myself calming down even doing this right now. It's just a lovely, soothing, fit thing for children. As I said, teaching them in these strategies prior to them having an anxious time in their lives so that you can help them get through it. And you might choose your favourite one. They might have a favourite one, or you might choose to do a variety. Another really good one, and I love this, I put a happy birthday cake there, and I use this when I go and get a needle. I'll have to go to the dentist, and I'm sure as adults you do this too, is you visualise. So I can't stand seeing a needle go in my arm, so I will look away and close my eyes, and I'll imagine beautiful rolling waves at Cronulla, or for a child it might be a happy birthday cake and you're blowing out the candles, or just that calming, soothing visualization where you close your eyes and visualize something else. Practice that prior to a child having to go and get their teeth checked, or sometimes it could be a haircut, or it could be getting a needle, going to the doctor, anything that makes them anxious. That visualization, that works really well. Another one is the turtle hug. So where if a child's getting really, really anxious, they hug themselves really tight, put their head down, putting their head down like a turtle, and they're just hugging, closing their eyes and breathing, getting really, really tight, and just giving them that time to just settle themselves. And again, I love these because you can do it anywhere with no equipment. Another one is clenching your hands really, really tight and just getting that stress out, and then relaxing them and just breathing and just giving yourself time to just calm yourself down. That's a really lovely one. And finally, sometimes children just need to talk to someone, and that could be a friend or a trusted adult, and it will probably be your classroom teacher, because your classroom teacher will form the most beautiful bond. It will be, as we call it, in loco parent, substitute parent, where they can talk to their teacher and have a chat about what's happening, and the teacher can help them out and get them through those feelings. I'm going to hand over now. I've done enough talking. I'm going to hand over to one of our amazing kindergarten teacher, Mr. Steph Hines. Hello, Steph. How are you? Mute on.
Very well, thank you, Mrs. Jacobs.
And Steph is, I love going into Steph's class. It is so calm. The way you start your day, Steph, where everybody gets to talk about something special in their lives, amazing. But you're going to have a quick chat about growth mindset, so I'll hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Jacobs. Can everybody see me okay? Thumbs up, Mrs. Jacobs.
Yes, I can. Yes.
Yep, beautiful. Too easy. Awesome. All right. Yep. So I'm Steph Hines. I've been at Sylvania Heights for about 7 years now, and predominantly 4 or 5 of those years have been in infants, particularly in kindergarten. So as Mrs. Jacob was saying, you pick up a few little tips along the way. And the greatest tip I can say for your students coming into kindergarten is mistakes are okay. Kindergarten is the place where they are going to be in a very foreign environment for the first time. It's been nothing like they've ever encountered before. So all those anxieties and things like that, the best thing for us to do is to try to calm them as much as we can, like Mrs. Jacobs said. And one of the things we can do is to try to instill in them a growth mindset. So a growth mindset basically means they truly believe that they can learn and get better at anything over time. So there's going to be a lot of things, like I say, that they don't know how to do, that we're going to be trying to teach them in a reasonably short period of time. So they are going to make mistakes along the way, and the growth mindset ability is to really make sure that they believe they can be learnt, that it can be learnt, the growth mindset, and that we're going to teach them and help them practice the skills that make a growth mindset, their ability to think that they can learn and that mistakes are okay. So while we can say, oh, some kids are naturally a little bit more resilient than others, a growth mindset indicates that just like any other muscle in our body, our brain can be trained and we can get stronger. And we do that by providing opportunities for students to learn in those new challenging environments that they're going to encounter. So the growth mindset, like it says there, love new challenges. The thing with kindergarten and challenges, we call it a fancy term called the zone of proximal development, which basically means we make challenges that are difficult, but not so difficult that they can't gain success. And the challenges are there that with a little bit of help or with a lot of help or with not very much help, that the students feel that they can be successful, because anxiety generally starts to occur when the students feel they won't be successful or they're going to let somebody down. So even our high achieving students will still get anxious because they think they're always supposed to be right. They're always supposed to get it right, because as parents, we've often said, oh, you're wonderful, you're fantastic, that's great, you're doing a great job, even when they're not quite there yet, but we're trying to pump them up constantly. So you can do that as a parent when there's maybe 1 or 2 kids at home, but when there's 20 kids in a kindergarten classroom, teachers are a little bit more honest, let's say, and sometimes that can increase a child's anxiety if they've never been told, great try, but that's not correct. Well done, but we'll have another go at it. We're not quite there yet. So another wonderful thing you can do for your kids is to help build resilience is by saying if they've got something wrong or they haven't done it exactly the way you were hoping to do it, that you work with them and you help them get better at something. It might be something as simple as putting on a jacket or putting on a raincoat, or figuring out how to take the sleeve out of a jacket and put it back the right way so they can put their jumper on by themselves. It might be as simple as putting their lunchbox in their bag. Little things like that make a huge difference. So even if they don't get it right the first time, you can keep practicing that, and that helps with the growth mindset. It says there, keep trying even when things are difficult. So even like I'll use the jacket again, putting on their jumper or jacket for school, when they take the jumper off and it becomes inside out and they don't know what to do and they just hand it to you and say, I can't do it. A great thing is, instead of undoing it for them and putting it on there, just saying to them, let's work on it together. And if they can't get it right the first time, we say, we're not there yet. And that's the power of yet. Beautiful, Mrs. Ingram, you read my mind. So the power of yet is that ability to keep practicing something. So if it doesn't work the first time, we keep practicing. So if they're reading and they don't know how to quite sound out the letters yet, we're not there yet. We will get there, but we're not there yet. And that's for anything they're doing at home, any skill of any type. The word yet is wonderful. I don't know the answer yet. I don't understand that yet. I'm not good at this yet. And that's about their mindset. They have to have the ability to say, I will be able to do it. I'm just not there yet. Because it's very easy for students to go, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. I don't know how to do this. I'm no good at this. So as parents, a lot of us have gone, oh, I'm not very good at maths, or oh, I'm not very creative. And we just put that in a little box and we just leave it there. With the growth mindset, obviously we're looking to get better all the time. And even after a young age and we've gone through primary school and a high school, that growth mindset can continue on all through adulthood. The other term is neural plasticity, which is a bit of a technical term saying that we can constantly adapt how our mind works and how we can constantly evolve and change the pathways within our mind so we can learn new concepts. So it's about adaptation. So this is where the children basically are at kindergarten when we offer them a task, be it challenging or not so challenging. They can start with, I won't do it, maybe I can't do it, and then they can go through, you know what, I want to do it. I'm prepared to have a go. And that's where the growth mindset kicks in, because it eliminates those first two options, where with a fixed mindset, you either think you can do it or you can't do it, and you leave it at that. And we want to avoid that at all costs. We want to have a go. And that's the resilience and the perseverance. I want to do it. How do I do it? So you're willing to think about how you're going to attempt it. And that's when that zone of proximity development comes in, where we can help them out a little bit. So we can give them some help. I'll try to do it. So they've actually made the choice of, yes, I'm going to give this a try, which is where we want them to be. That's the perfect spot. You can see the smile on the face and he's about to go up a step. Then I can do it, that's self-belief. And then the will do it, that's the confidence. And once we've got the self-belief and the confidence that we can do it, obviously the I will do it kicks in, and yes, I did it. So if you just look at something you've achieved that was challenging in your life, it's generally not the thing that was very easy. So the more we set these challenges up for the kids, the better off we're going to be, but we have to give them the ability to think about how they're going to achieve it. They have to have that self-confidence and that self-efficacy, and that word yet is super important. So as adults, how do we adjust our mindset to help our children's mindset? And then that's where our thinking comes in. We have to have a growth mindset to help the children with their growth mindset. So if we're saying, I'm not good at this, or the kids are saying that, we have to give them an option like, what am I missing? You know, what's something that's not happening for me to make me think like this? And that's where that scaffolding or that ability to help them kicks in. Where it says, I give up, we got to look for a different strategy. How can I do this differently? What you're obviously doing that's not working, you have to change up. What's the saying? Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. You've got to change it up. Super, super important with a growth mindset, willing to deviate from a path that you think might work that hasn't, to try something new. So mistakes and difficulty in a task become normalized. It's neither good or bad, it's just part of the process. And that's what we want the kids to think. We want to think the kids to think mistakes are okay, they're going to happen. If they think mistakes are going to happen and they're all right, they're not going to get anxious about them. They're not going to be worried that they're letting somebody down or they can't do something and that they'll be disappointing people. So that's something to think about. I can't make this any better. We always have the mindset we can always improve. We can always get better. We're not there yet. That yet word is so important. This is too hard becomes this may take some time. And that's celebrating the little wins. So as I say, if they're trying to spell a word or sound out a word and they get 3 of the 4 sounds correct, celebrate every single sound they get correct. Don't focus on the one sound that's wrong. And that comes with the language as well. If they're looking at, say, the word went, and they get the W sound, the N and the T, celebrate the beginning sound that they got, celebrate the N sound that they got, and then just work on the middle. Like they're nearly there. If, you know, you got 75% in a test, it's like, that's not bad, you know? So that one letter is that missing 25%. Don't dwell on the 25% you got wrong, dwell on the 75% you got right. And that's really important for the kids, that they believe that each time they gain a little bit of success, it should be celebrated. Don't focus on what's the mistake. focus on what they've got right, and that'll get them closer to achieving that 100%. I'll never be that smart. I will learn how to do that. That's the yet. Again, we're not there yet. It's just a process to get there. Plan A doesn't work, go down plan B. Like I say, that adaptability again. Really important. It's not just a me mindset, the growth mindset. It's really important to be willing to ask for help and to look for help from others, other parents, other students. It's really important. My friend can do it, I will learn from them. So that not just me is super, super important. That's growth mindset in a nutshell. I hope you picked up something from there. It's about being positive with the kids at the end of the day and celebrating success, because success breeds success. And if they think they're failing, they think that becomes habit forming, and we don't want that. So we want kids to feel like they're successful, even if they're being successful at a different rate as somebody else in the class. Their success is theirs, it belongs to them. And once you can take authentic ownership of your successes, you'll believe you can keep getting more success. But if you feel like you're a failure, we know what it's like sometimes when we feel like we're making poor choices or not doing something well. We wonder about other things in our lives, that are we doing that well as well? Because it's a snowball effect, failure and the fear of failure, and that creates that anxiety. So if we can eliminate that as much as we can and focus on the success and celebrate it, it makes a huge difference for the kids. All right, thank you, Mrs. Jacobs and Mrs. Ingram and parents. I'll let Mrs. Jacobs continue on.
And Steph, can I just mention too, all of that happens when you're in a classroom of trust, and that you can give feedback without being judged. I mean, they feel trusted, that they can say, I'm not good at this, and you can say to them, you got those 3 letters right, you just need to get that one right, and they accept that feedback and they know where to go from there. That feedback is so crucial, not just good boy or good girl, but what exactly you got right and where you need to go from there. And that's something all of our staff, K to 6, spend a lot of time on, is that really specific feedback of this is what you got right, this is the successful part, this is where you need to go next. And once they have that mindset of I'm listening to your feedback and building on that feedback, that's when, and that comes from trust, doesn't it, Steph? So thank you.
Absolutely. And authenticity. And the other thing I will very quickly mention is that we're all stakeholders in a student's learning. So it's really important that we all communicate respectfully and honestly with each other as well. And once we all do that, the children pick up on it, and they're a lot more willing to learn, knowing that everybody's caring for them and everybody has their best interests at heart.
Mm. And life's not perfect. There will be things happen along the way, little bumps in the road, and we work through them. Thank you, Steph, for that. So I'll move on to the last part of our presentation, and that is we are what's called a positive behaviour for learning school. What that means is, or you'll hear the term PBL. What that means is, in a nutshell, we teach children to manage their own behaviour. We set them up with these expectations of how we behave at school, and then we put it back onto them and hold them accountable for their own behaviour. No one makes them do anything. No one, you are in control of your own behaviour. So we have a mantra, is our mantra, and you'll hear this a lot. We are respectful, responsible learners, and we talk about that all the time. What does it mean to be respectful? What does it mean to be responsible? And what does it mean to be a learner? And what does it mean to be all 3 of those together? So for example, around the school, you'll see all these trees, and one of our wonderful parents, who was actually an ex-Disney artist, created all these for us a few years ago. So if you're coming into the classroom, we expect that you line up sensibly. We expect that you keep your hands and feet to yourself. We expect that you walk into the classroom in a calm manner, and we expect that you would sit down and eyes on the teacher. So all of those expectations will be taught to the children, just like we teach addition, just like we teach them to read, we also teach them how to behave. When they're walking into the hall for an assembly, we teach them the expectations that they walk in, hands and feet to themselves, they sit quietly and they look at the person and be respectful of the person speaking on the microphone. So all of those things will be taught, and then we expect them to manage their own behaviour. So all the staff across the school use consistent language to promote good choices, and it holds them accountable. So, for example, if a child's running around and they're out of bounds and they're in an unsafe spot where the teacher can't see them, the teacher will walk over and say, "Where should you be?" Simply, "Where should you be?" And they'll wait, "Where should you be?" Now, if the child doesn't know, the teacher will say, "You need to be in these areas." And in kindergarten, we're still teaching them expectations. But by year, 2 or 3, or even year 1, we'd say, "Where should you be?" "Oh, I should be over where the teacher can see me." And that's holding them accountable. And you go, "Thank you," and then off they go. So it's not scolding them or berating them. It's just saying, if a child is getting up and wandering around the classroom, sorry, can you just go back a bit, Mrs. Ingram? We've jumped ahead. Thank you. It would be wandering around the classroom. What should you be doing? Teacher would just say, "What should you be doing?" Parents, if you wouldn't mind just putting your mute on for me. Thank you. That would be appreciated. What should you be doing? You wait for them to answer. And these are questions that you can use at home as well. Parents, would you just mind putting mute on for me? Thank you. Please put mute on. Thank you. What should you be doing? Or if a child is off task, the teacher would simply say, "What were you asked to do?" And you wait for them. "Oh, I was asked to do my handwriting today." And then you just say, "Thank you." And then you walk away expecting that it be done. So this is the kind of language you will use quite across. So we're teaching the children to manage their own behaviour rather than just barking at them or telling them or scolding them. It is about, you are accountable, you own your behaviour. And if we can get every child to be managing their own behaviour, then school-wide we have a beautiful, calm, positive, respectful, responsible learning environment. And that's the whole goal. And then at the end, we'll say to them, "Gee, you made a great choice today," or "Gee, you're a respectful, responsible learner. I'm so proud of you." And you'll see that a lot coming through in awards coming home. We've got tickets on the playground for making great choices, and all of that kind of PBL behaviour is constantly reinforced all around in all areas of the school. Thanks, Mrs. Ingram. Now, I just want to touch base on bullying, or the word bullying. Now, bullying is what we call this. It's a sizzle word. When you say the word bullying, your ears prick up straight away. You get prickly feelings because of all of our past experiences, some good and some very bad. Bullying is a word that is thrown around a lot, and we have to be very careful how we use it, because children experience at least 3 conflicts per day at school. It could be someone took my green pencil and I was using it. It could be Billy threw my hat in the sandpit, and it could be somebody pushed me today. So we have to be careful. Is that bullying? So when you look at this little sign that's here, when someone says or does something unintentionally hurtful, like they're running and they bump into you, that's just being rude. They should have watched where they're going. When someone does something that is intentional, so they went and bumped you on purpose, that's being mean, but it's a once-off. If somebody says or does something intentionally hurtful and they keep doing it over and over and over, and you've said to stop, or you've asked the teacher to help them, and you're feeling upset about it, then that's bullying. It's usually, if your child comes home and says, "I had a fight with my friend today because I didn't get to play the game I wanted, and she wanted to play the same game, the one she wanted to do," that's not bullying. That's just someone's being mean or being unfair. But if that person was making sure that you had to be you were being pushed or shoved, or they took your hat every single day, and it was over and over again, and it's repeated, then that is bullying. And when we get to that stage, we want to know about it. We want to know about it quick, smart, because we'll stop it and we'll nip it in the bud straight away. So you'll know that because your child will talk about that particular child over and over again, not just someone being silly in the classroom, but someone doing something to them on a regular basis. We don't have a lot of bullying at school, but everyone, we've got, 600 children at the school, and everyone comes in with their own feelings and their own ways, and often children who have been doing bullying are often got their own agenda to work with, but we can do something about it very quickly. We just need to know, and your classroom teacher can jump on top of that very quickly. And the other thing you can do is when a child tells you that something's happened, if they come home, don't overreact. Just say, oh, listen to what they have to say. Acknowledge that, I'm sorry, Billy threw your hat in the sandpit today. That is really awful. I'm sorry it got sand all over it and we have to wash it. That was really mean of him. He shouldn't have done that. What did you do? What did you say to him? And giving them the language. And if they said, I don't know, I didn't know what to say, you say, well, what could you say? You could say, don't throw my hat in the sandpit. And if they said, well, I'm too shy, or like I didn't feel like it, well, he's mean and I don't want to talk to him, well, you could have gone and got the teacher and told the teacher, and the teacher will help you. So we always encourage the students to try and deal with things like that on their own, or get help. So that we are trying to teach them to develop that resilience of what could you do next time? If Billy gets your hat, throws it in the sandpit, what are you going to do next time? Are you going to stand there and let him do it? Or are you going to say something? Or do you need to go and get help? So that you're giving them the skills to develop that resilience. And if your child comes home and says something and you feel like it's big, like somebody punched me in the face today, just be careful that we just get clarification first, because sometimes it could be they were doing rough play. They were doing play and it got rough, and it was with their best friend, and then accidentally they've been bumped in the face. So just be careful that you go, okay, tell me what happened, explain to me all the details. We're very happy to follow it up the next day, but just find out what happened, because often you'll find that they were playing a game and the child might have left out some of the information. And because children are egocentric, they're just talking about what happened to them, not necessarily what they were doing to others or what was happening at the time, and they would just say how they felt at the time. So getting clarification is big, and if you can't get that clarification from your child, please have a chat to the teacher or the school and we can find out for you. I've put in something here. It's called the social wave. This is something to be really careful of as a parent, and some of you will already experience this. There will be times when your child is invited to the birthday party. There'll be times when your child is not invited to the birthday party, or they're uninvited to the birthday party because the best friend they're best friends and they have an argument. There'll be times when you become friends with your children's best friends, and then the children are no longer friends anymore because something's happened. Be careful of that social wave of always have friends outside of your children's social circle, but also be mindful that just as quickly as children will end a friendship, they'll be back playing again happily in the playground, and often the parents are left struggling, going, hang on a minute, they were arguing with each other last week and now they're best friends. That's what kids do. They break up and then they get back together. They break up, and that's how they learn to socialise. So be mindful of that, and rather than perhaps jumping on the phone, and I do not advise jumping on a phone to another parent unless you're very, very dear to them, going through the school and asking the school for clarification in helping you deal with a situation that might be getting out of hand, because I can assure you 4 and 5-year-olds, what happened today is gone, and they're off starting again fresh the next day. And while it's in a parent's head and you're still going, oh my goodness, all this has happened, they're off having a great old time and they're all friends again. So just be mindful of that. And of course, as I've said before, if something is really, really coming up all the time and you're feeling uncomfortable about it, just report it, just let us know, and we can jump on top of those things really quickly. And always end the day with, after a child has maybe said something to you that might not have been in a positive way, okay, tell me someone who was kind today, who was funny. Were there any, what's something that happened in the playground or the classroom that was funny today? And there will always be something that you can end the dinner or the chat on a positive note, so that they know that even though there's adversity, there is also great things that happen at school. We have a vision, a school vision that we make up every 3 years, and this is in consultation with our school community and all of our staff and also our students. At Sylvania Heights Public School, every child is known, cared for and valued. Through innovative quality teaching, our students are empowered to be successful learners who are respectful and resilient. So I guess that's our overarching big umbrella of this is what we want for your children. We want them to be valued, cared for, but we also want them to be in a progressive classroom with quality teaching, where they're getting success, they're resilient and they're respectful of others. And there's some of our gorgeous kids. I took that of Mr. Hines today. Teaching with a mask on is not easy, by the way, but it's something we've all embraced. And our beautiful kids in learning to read, and some of our beautiful K Blue students ready to do their sounds work this morning. So I just took those this morning. Thank you, Mrs. And as you know, we've all been in lockdown and it's been a really challenging thing. But to be honest, if we went into lockdown tomorrow or any time, we can switch over to online learning in 12 hours. Our staff is so highly trained and tech savvy, and we can move over very, very quickly. So there is absolutely no concern. Well, I can tell you, after 3 months, we're very well versed in doing this now. Lots of Zoom meetings, lots of talking to your children, lots of either hard copies or online learning. We'll never have to go back to this again. But that was yesterday. We had our welcome back signs and all our beautiful kids are back at school, happy. I've never seen kids and parents so happy ever, and so staff so happy to see everybody. So I'm sure that you're starting your child at a very good time next year, and we won't have these concerns. I'm going to have a very positive growth mindset, Mr. Hines, there, in that this won't happen again. But if it does, we all deal with adversity, and we move on and deal with it, and we show resilience. So all right, enough talking from me. I'm going to ask, are there any questions? I've given you a lot of information. I've recorded this, so you can go back and look at some of those strategies you can take away. But I'll just give you a moment now. Are there any questions?